Welcome to another edition of Between Two Owls. I'm your host, Tom Price, and with us today is Dr. Laura Toran from the Earth and Environmental Science Department. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Ohio, and my father was a faculty member, so I think I was headed in that direction from an early age.
And what did you like to do as a kid?
Read, and then more reading. And the odd thing is that I wasn't a big outdoor person, which is what I do all the time now. You can see in my background, that's the streams and outdoors. But I had a feeling that maybe I wanted to try some field that got me outdoors, and I found geology and environmental science, and it just hit for me. I haven't looked back. I've always been able to find jobs and interesting problems to study and have loved it.
Cool. Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a brother and a sister that are both older than me, and no, they don't do anything related to science at all. I'm an aberration in my entire family.
What would they say about you?
That whenever they try to call me on a weekend, I'm out doing sampling or coming back from doing sampling. Yeah, they find my profession rather odd.
And where did you go for your undergraduate work?
I went to a small college in Minnesota, McAllister College, and it was very cold there, but I kind of enjoyed that.
And did you have any mentors as an undergrad?
Not so much as an undergrad. I did have a faculty member in biology who said one of the most important problems to study was water. And so when I got out of undergrad, I got a job in the Water Resources Division of the U.S. Geological Survey. And I had a wonderful mentor there as an undergraduate research assistant. And he studied water resources and really convinced me that's what I wanted to do when I went on for a PhD.
Cool. And where did you go for your PhD?
So I went back to the cold Midwest, and I went to the University of Wisconsin in Madison.
Great. And when did you come to Temple, or how did you end up at Temple?
Yeah. So after I got my PhD, my husband and I were both looking for jobs at the same time, and we ended up at Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee, where we studied radioactive waste problems. When you're married and both looking for jobs, it can be really challenging to find a job in the same place. So we were pretty happy that we found one in the same place, but we periodically looked for academic positions because we both liked the idea of teaching, but it's very hard to find two positions at one university. Yeah. So we were looking in a news magazine where jobs were advertised one day, and Temple University was looking for a geophysicist, which is what my husband is, and a hydrogeologist, which is what I am. Wow. And they said there's lots of waste sites nearby, which the dean at the time thought was a really foolish thing to put in an ad, which we thought was very exciting.
Right.
So the department was right. It attracted us. And we applied for the job and got it. So it looked like an ad written for us. And that was it was 23 years ago. And we've been very happy with the decision to move and have very much enjoyed teaching and interacting with students.
Awesome. How did you and your husband meet?
We lived in the same dorm freshman year at McAllister.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah. So I've known him, the vast majority of my life.
And what do you like most about your job?
Wow, there's so many things I like. I like the fact that I do have a mixture of office work and going out in the field and looking at interesting problems. I like that I work on problems that are nearby. The stream in my background, that picture is 10 minutes from my house, and I did a very extensive study on that stream. And so when I'm talking to people about what I do, I'm talking about things that are happening right nearby and problems that are present day problems, current problems. The other thing that I really love is working with students. The students at Temple are so hungry for interesting experiences, and I love getting them involved in the research. And I feel like working on urban hydrology, which is what I'm studying in these streams, is a wide open area. So it really attracts people who are curious about the environment and solving environmental problems. So I get great students too.
Cool. I'll switch gears a little bit. Tell me, what would you consider is your main fault?
I take on too many commitments. So I have 5 graduate students, a postdoc working for me right now, and I have 5 different grants that I have them on, working on. When a problem is interesting, it's really hard for me to say no. Yeah, that's my problem, is I take on commitments too much. I'd like to say I'm getting better at saying no, but I'm not sure that I am. Oh, and I have 2 undergrads working for me too. I usually have a few more, but it's a little bit harder to get undergraduates involved in projects during COVID, but I do have 2 undergrads working for me right now.
What are you currently reading?
I'm reading a book by Anna Quinlan, who's one of my favorite authors, but this particular book isn't one of my favorites. But I'm in a book club, and we just finished a book called The Rent Collector, which is about people who live around waste sites in Cambodia and find things there to sell to make their living. And the person finds a book in the waste site, and she doesn't know how to read, but she finds someone to teach her how to read, and it changes her whole life, because then she can read some of the things that are in the waste site and figure out what they're good for. It was a beautifully written book, and a real tribute to the importance of reading.
Cool. What do you appreciate in your friends?
Honesty is really important to me, being straightforward and honest. And that's true for my students too. I demand a really high level of honesty, and I give them honesty so that when you're talking to somebody, if you made a mistake, you can correct it more quickly if you're honest about it. And I think that's really important in science, to get good science. But I have the same expectation from friends. I want straight talk.
Do you have a favorite vacation spot or a dream vacation spot?
In terms of places that I've been, oh man, that's a tough one. I can tell you a place that I went to that I didn't expect to like, and I did. And okay, you're gonna think I'm really stupid here. Hawaii. Who wouldn't love Hawaii?
Right.
But it wasn't on my list of places to go, but I built up enough frequent flyer miles, and I wanted to go as far away as possible. And so I thought, okay, that's as far away. And we actually built up enough that we could take my husband and I could take our 2 kids with us too. So we all 4 went to Hawaii.
Awesome.
And at the time, one of our faculty members was doing a sabbatical there, and he took us out. He said, "Do you want to go out and sample a volcano?" Oh, wow, that sounds exciting. And so we went out with a coffee can and a bottle of water, and you literally walk out on the hot lava, well, parts of it that aren't hot. You just dip your rock hammer in and then shake it off into the water so that it will cool enough to take a sample. It was really primitive, but it was gorgeous. I don't know.
Awesome.
I just didn't expect it to be so beautiful, and it was. And then, walking out on lava with another geologist.
Yeah, I can understand that one. That's great. What would be the title of your biography?
So it's funny that you would ask that, because for my okay, I applied to college in 1976, so this is a pretty old memory, but you always have to do something creative. And so for my creative piece, I made a book cover. And the title of my book cover was Get Off the Shelf. And it showed me reading, because, reading you stay at home to do. And one of the things I really wanted to do when I went off to college was try new things. And so I thought a good title was Get Off the Shelf, because it said what I used to do, but what I was going to try to do. I think I'd still use that today. I think it's always good to try new things and to learn new things.
Very cool. What's your favorite thing to do in Philly?
Inside Philly, or just in the whole region?
Whatever.
Wow. So, my mind is coming up blank for favorite thing, but I can give you my favorite thing during COVID.
Yes.
Okay. And this is an odd one. Philly has wonderful restaurants and the surrounding region does too, but I'm not real fond of going out to eat. But we're just so cooped up at home. Both of my adult kids are living with us because they got tired of living by themselves. So they moved back home,
Mhm, mhm.
still have their apartments, but so all four of us are living at home. And once a week we do takeout. So we pick a different restaurant every week. And it's kind of like going out to eat. And we try different nationalities. So it's kind of like getting outside of
Mhm.
Philadelphia. And guess what? Tonight's our takeout night. So
Awesome.
I'm kind of looking
What's
forward to
on
that.
what's on the menu?
So we're trying Mexican tonight, which is one of the least favorite for my kids and one of the favorite for my husband. So we haven't
Hmm.
tried it yet. And I'm getting mushroom tacos. I have no
Awesome.
idea what this is going to taste like. But
Cool.
yeah. But it's just funny that something that I didn't enjoy before COVID has become something I really
Mm.
look forward to. But it gets us kind of away from our being cooped up.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we're still at home
Nice.
and we're basically staying socially distanced and safe.
Sure. All right, I have something called the rapid fire response. I'm going to give you 2 words and you just state your preference or pass. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Morning or night?
Morning.
Dark or milk chocolate?
Dark.
That was
That's one of my
very-
favorite things to drink. I can't believe you asked me that.
Offense or defense?
I don't have a clue.
Dogs or cats?
No.
Bert or Ernie?
Okay, I don't remember who they are. Bert and Ernie. I don't know. I don't remember them enough. One was a little taller than the other, but I can't remember their
Okay.
personalities.
Half full or half empty?
Oh, half full.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's been great talking to you.
Okay.